Welcome to the Planning Commission meeting. If I could have everyone stand for the flag salute. I do have a flag here, that way we can direct our vision. With your heart, ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Oliver.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, and we're going to go on to roll call. Stephanie, you could do a roll call.
Commissioner Guerrero.
Here.
Chair Sanchez.
Here.
Commissioner Quill.
I'm here.
Commissioner Wilbert.
Here.
Commissioner Chang.
Here.
And Commissioner Morales.
Here.
Okay. Commissioners Liang and Vice Chair Jones are absent. Commissioner Lopez is excused. We have quorum.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you, Stephanie. All right. Moving on to, before we start the meeting, since we do have a new commissioner here with us, I'm going to go over the ground rules just so that we can remember what we're going to do. We're going to each be muted unless we're speaking. That way the tape record is nice and clean. And we will open public comment after listening to the report. We will listen to the staff and we'll listen to the applicant. And from there, we'll go from ward to ward, listening to any opinions or, discussion over the agenda item. From there, we'll close and we'll deliberate from there. Okay. Does anyone have any conflict with any of the items being brought forth tonight? Need to be excused. I see no one, so I think we can continue. Going on to the consent agenda. Oliver? Oh, you're muted, Oliver.
You told us how to mute, so I turned my button off. There we go. Madam Chair and Commissioners, good evening. Item number one is the recommendation for the approval of the minutes for our last meeting, which was on November the 10th, 2020. They are complete as submitted, and we recommend the approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Oliver.
You're welcome.
At this point, I will open public hearing for the draft minutes. And does anyone have any comments for that? If not, I will close public hearing and I will entertain a motion.
Everyone's
Entertain
muted.
a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion, we have a second. Stephanie, if we could have a vote roll call.
I'd like to make mention first that Vice Chair Jones has joined the meeting. Albert, should I call him as part of the roll?
Yes.
Commissioner Guerrero?
Aye.
Chair Sanchez?
Yes.
Commissioner Quill?
Aye.
Vice Chair Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Wilbert?
Yes.
Commissioner Chang? Commissioner Chang?
She's muted, I think. She's nodding yes.
Nodding yes. Commissioner Morales?
Yes.
Thank you. The item passes.
Wonderful. Continuing on. The Planning Commission will first hear a report from staff and then the public hearing will be opened. The applicant will have an opportunity to speak. Next, members of the public will be allowed to speak. After all have spoken, the applicant will be allowed to respond. The public hearing will then be closed and the Planning Commission will begin deliberations and make a decision. All actions except general plan amendments and amendments to the Municipal Development Code are final actions unless an appeal is filed and a fee paid within 15 days to the Community Development Department. If you challenge the resultant action of the Planning Commission in court, you may be limited to raising only those issues you or someone else raised at the public hearing described in this agenda, or in written correspondence delivered to the Community Development Department at or prior to the public hearing. All right, going on to item number 2. If we could have the staff report, please.
Go ahead, Travis.
I was just waiting for the presentation. There we go. Thank you. Item number 2 this evening is conditional use permit 17-16, public convenience or necessity finding 1706, and subdivision 1906. Next slide, please. This is a request to construct a service station with convenience. It's a small center, ultimately, consisting of a service station with a convenience store, a restaurant pad for drive-through use, and 2 small retail spaces. Property is located at the southeast corner of West Highland Avenue and North Medical Center Drive. It's just over 3¼ acres in size, and it's currently zoned commercial office. Here's the property outlined in red. As you can see, it is said southeast corner of Highland and Medical Center, and a portion of it does extend all the way down to West 21st Street on the south end. As noted, the entire site, 1 parcel, all under the zoning commercial office at this time. So a little bit more of a breakdown on the project. We would have the gas station. This one is a little larger. It would consist of a total of 8 pump islands, which would comprise 16 fueling stations. Convenience store, a little over 4,300 square feet in size, 2,200 square foot drive-through restaurant pad, and then 2 retail spaces, both 1,000 square feet in size. And it would have a total of around over 50 parking spaces on site. The convenience store in this project is, as part of their proposal this evening, is requesting an ABC Type 20 license. That's off-sale beer and wine. Staff has analyzed this project and this request. The census tract that the property is located in, tract 4202, currently allows, per ABC standards, a total of 3 off-sale licenses. As it is right now, there are a total of 6. The request this evening would bring that to 7 if approved. We have reviewed this in conjunction with the police department. Staff believes this is still an appropriate request because looking at the breakdown, there's a table on the slide, and as was included in the staff report, the majority of the licenses, there's only 1 really in proximity to the project site. The other 5 are all located approximately a mile to the south, all along Baseline Street, within the shopping center off of Baseline and Medical Center. So they're really not impacting the neighborhood that the project's in, even though they fall within the same census tract. Accordingly, the police department did also review this application and posed no objection to the issuance of the license. Here's a picture of the existing site. As you can see, it's currently undeveloped. If anybody does know this property, this is where there used to be the old fire station off of 21st and Medical Center, just kind of notched into the corner of this. That property has since been demoed, so the entire site there is currently vacant. And here's the site plan for the project. This proposal this evening would only develop the northern portion of the site. As I mentioned, the property does extend on the east side down towards 21st Street, but that property would be subdivided off as part of the application this evening. And the 2 parcels that they would create up along Highland Avenue would comprise the project, with the convenience store backing up to the corner of 21st or of Highland and Medical Center, gas station set just inside to the east from that, and then far along the eastern end of the property, you see the restaurant with the drive-through wrapping around the back and the 2 retail spaces. Here are the conceptual elevations for the project. Consistent with the kind of current design on a lot of other buildings, block along the base, stucco with cornice on the buildings. And with that, our recommendation this evening is to adopt Resolution 2020-048 that would find this project categorically exempt as an infill development. And then we would request approval of the conditional use permit, the PCN finding for the overconcentration of ABC licenses, and the subdivision. And with that, I will open it up to any questions. I do also have the applicant is present at the meeting if you do have any other follow-up. Thank you.
Thank you, Travis. At this time, I'll open public hearing for item number 2. Stephanie, do we have any public comments?
Not for this item.
Perfect. Thank you. So we'll actually hear a little bit from the applicant if they want to add anything to the staff report.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, everybody. Is there any questions? This is Charles Raymond Youssef, the applicant for the southeast corner of Highland Avenue Medical Center Drive.
We may have a few questions for you, but we just wanted to see if you wanted to add anything to the staff report.
I'm really looking forward to the approval process and as well as the hopefully the construction process very near soon. So we're just excited to get this project off the ground.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So I'll be going in order from ward to ward, starting with Commissioner Guerrero. Any comments?
No, I'm quite familiar with this property, and usually, well, I would say usually the alcohol license is always a concern, but knowing that they are, you know, the ones that are closest to is like your market, which is quite a bit of ways from there. But other than that, I mean, that would be my only concern is approving another ABC license. But for the project itself, I mean, it definitely, that corner's been vacant for so long. Be nice to see some development there.
Perfect. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Quill, any comments?
Yes, I think this is a very attractive looking project. I have a question for the developer. Is he proposing to try and secure freeway visibility or freeway orientated business in that area?
Like a freeway, just a.
Well,
like,
I'm trying to analyze how far you are from the freeway and whether or not you anticipate to put freeway signage in or to have freeway exposure.
Yeah, I don't believe we propose on any kind of freeway signage. We are less than a mile away from the freeway off ramp. And we would be the first main retail center or first gas station to head west from the exit of the 215. So I didn't feel that it was necessary to put a freeway signage, but it's something that has been discussed internally with the company. But we haven't really designed anything or thought of anything further to put a signage of that nature or that large on this particular corner, just because it isn't so close to the freeway off ramp.
That is exactly what I was going to comment about, because I believe that you are too far away from the freeway at that location, according to the ordinance. So it would require a variance or whatever. But thank you. Thank you. A nice looking project.
Commissioner Quill, if I can just clarify that the project site is about a quarter mile, kind of as the crow flies from the freeway. The freeway overlay that does allow that enhanced signage typically sticks to about 500 feet. So that this property really wouldn't fall in that. And as Charles had mentioned, it really doesn't lead itself to that because it's near the freeway, but not immediately adjacent to the off-ramp. So it would be a little bit of a kind of a roundabout getting to it if you were trying to see signage like that.
Thank you. Yeah, that's what I kind of imagined, but I wasn't sure if the developer had any feelings about that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Jones, any comments?
I just had two questions. The first one would be in reference to the projected timeline for breaking ground and estimated time from when you're going to start business operations. And what are some of the proposed tenants that you're seeking for some of these commercial units?
Yeah, so We are trying to work with a couple of tenants for the drive-through. I've been speaking with Dunkin' Donuts as one possible tenant. I have been trying to work with Farmer Boys because I really like originally before obviously the pandemic, I felt Farmer Boys would be a perfect fit for their drive-through / sit-down type of operation. But now with the pandemic, and we're trying to find folks who are more drive-through oriented and maybe not so much sit-down. But I mean, we're still trying to work with both. We would still like to present and have an operation that provides both a sit-down and drive-through. And if there's an operation that wants to take both the two retail spaces to expand, and we're more than happy to do so. At this moment in time, we do not have anybody locked in place. Folks were still kind of waiting to make sure that the project itself was going to be approved through the city before we started making any advances forward. In terms of the convenience store, we're working with one brand. Yet again, we're still not sure if it's going to be a private convenience store or maybe a Beyond. I don't know if you've heard of Beyond Marketplace convenience stores that have been popping up. They're a new convenience store in the gas station industry. And then for the branding of the gas station itself, we propose it could be potentially either a Shell or a 76. We're still weighing out our options. The reason why we're still having our options open is just because we wanted to wait for this particular hearing and the approval process to see how we're going to be advancing forward. So those are kind of the 3 or 4 branding we're working with, the Shell, 76, Beyond Marketplace. And then in terms of the other one, I'm still trying to speak with Farmer Boys. And then there's Dunkin' Donuts. Dunkin' Donuts has shown the most interest. Farmer Boys has kind of given me a 50-50 answer. And from there, I'm still working to see who else I could try to bring to the table. To try to, our biggest goal was to try to find a sit down for this particular corner, but sit down was actually the hardest thing to try to accommodate. Many people would say it doesn't fit their radius, it doesn't fit, the area doesn't fit their demographics. So I did get some pushback, but we're still working very hard to find us a secured tenant for food.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Wolbert, any questions?
Yes. So to clarify, this is one parcel and you're dividing it into 3 parcels?
Correct.
I can clarify a little bit of that, Commissioner. Can we go back to the site plan? Can you skip back actually to the aerial for the site? Just a couple slides. Perfect, thank you. Yeah, so the property right now, as I had mentioned, it does have its primary frontage along Highland and Medical Center. It does have a small frontage along 21st Street. The proposed subdivision this evening would basically take that flagged portion, the addition that extends down to 21st, and subdivide that for future development. And then the primary frontage along Highland Avenue would be split into 2 parcels, one that would service the gas station and fueling area, the convenience store and fueling area, and one that would service the drive-through and the retail space. Only the 2 on the north end would be developed at this time, though.
The 2 on the north end, is that the, was it 1,000, or approximately 2,000 square feet of retail space? Is that the ones you're talking about?
Yeah, can we jump to the site plan now, Stephanie? Yeah, so if you see it, it's a little bit hard to see on here just because there's a number of lines over it, but the portion at the very end of or at the very south end of the drawing, the bottom end, it's just the white area, that would be that third property that would be split off, that would remain for future development. And then the area that is currently proposed for development, right where this landscaped area is, in the middle of the site, there's kind of this green rectangle. There's, thank you. Yes, there is a proposed property line that would run down the middle of that. So you would have one parcel on the east end that would comprise the restaurant and the 2 retail spaces, along with the parking area. And then the one parcel on the west end that would have the fueling canopy, the store, and then the additional parking. Long term, the plan was originally to include that southern portion for development. There were a few different proposals that did get brought up, looking at how that former fire station property could be incorporated, but at this moment, things just didn't work out with that property. So that's being left for future.
So if that property down to the below there, is that parcel number 3?
Yes.
It looks like that's landlocked. How can that be developed?
If you can, sorry, and I realize the site plan's a little too zoomed in and it doesn't show that third parcel, so that's my apologies for that. Can we jump back to the aerial? That portion wouldn't be landlocked because it includes where it extends down to 21st Street. So it would still have a small access off of Medical Center Drive on the very west end of the site, and it would have its other main access along 21st. So there are no landlocked parcels as part of this.
Good. I mean, I know it's clarified. It's very clear. All right. So you don't have a type of business for parcel 2 and 3 yet? Except for possible drive-through or restaurants?
As far as the specific tenants, I believe Charles had spoken to that a little bit. They are working with a number of people, but it sounds like commitments are really kind of pending getting the project to move forward. But if you can elaborate on that at all.
Yeah, we're waiting for the approval in order for folks to feel a little more confident to move forward with us about whether or not this project is happening. When I had initially approached all of these major tenants, we were still in a different conceptual plan, and we've changed our plan several times, and we couldn't lock in with planning exactly how we wanted to move forward. Now we do have that site plan in place, and people have agreed that they're good with this new site plan, but until that approval, they're kind of been hesitant to see how they want to move forward with us. And the 2 folks that I've been speaking to the most have been Farmer Boys and Dunkin' Donuts, but I would have to follow up with them again after this meeting to see where they are at, and hopefully we could arrange something.
It's very difficult to do anything right now. I understand. Can't work at.
But not for drive-through. They're pretty active. The drive-through tenants, they're looking actively still.
No kidding.
Yeah. I mean, sit down. Of course, it's going to be a hit or miss. But the drive-through, I feel they're up to expand just because they see that people are still hitting the drive-through. It's either drive-through or delivery for now.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there any residential in that area?
There is some additional residential just down along 21st Street, south and then just east of the project site. That's the yellow area that you see on the image.
And that could possibly support this project then.
Yes.
Okay, so answer my questions. Parcel number 3 then will be in limbo for quite some time then.
Well, we hope that we could work with the city of San Bernardino and the old fire station property to do something there that could be meaningful to the community and the city overall, and the concept of what we've proposed on the corner. We would like to see what we can do there together, whether we propose something or the city tells us maybe what they're looking for. But as you know, we would like to do something there. I would like it not to be just an open property. And if there's something that we could come up with as the time goes, next year, we would love to bounce ideas off of each other and see what we can do there together. Because I don't want it to sound like a landlock where we're landlocking each other, and we can't give what's best for the community in that area, whether it's expanding more commercial, whether it's expanding a mixed use of commercial and multifamily, or some type of single family. I mean, we would like to see what kind of ideas we could present, and obviously bounce those ideas off of each other. So we were happy to sit down and see what we could do there if possible.
Yeah, and I will add, as Charles has mentioned, we did go through several iterations on this plan, originally incorporating the southern portion of the site, at one point looking at the fire station, and just timing on some of these things just doesn't always work out the way you want. So we did want to proceed with the portion that we do have set. But as we've tweaked that site plan on these final revisions, it does leave the opening for that southern portion. So that something can easily come in and connect to this site, and down the line, knock on wood, everything's all built together. It can be one cohesive development. So you're really
Correct.
not just shoving something in, on this other vacant lot at the last minute. It really looks like it was meant to be one large project.
Yeah.
Well, it looks that way by way of the access of 21st Street. That would be that'd be good. All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Chang, any comments?
None for me, and I think this is a good project, and I wish Mr. Youssef the best of luck in bringing the best tenants for the city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Morales, any comments?
Yeah, so I read the application and understand that the CUP on the conditions, I believe it's condition number 28, on page 28 as well, the hours of operation for serving alcohol. I was just wondering if there could be an amendment made for instead of 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. Monday to Sunday, maybe decreasing that from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Just to, keep in mind the community and maybe reduce any like drunk driving or things like that. That was my only comment, but I think it's a great project and we should definitely move forward on it.
I can say staff wouldn't have any objection. I don't think those are the standard hours that do come from consulting with ABC, but certainly I don't think anyone's intention is to be selling alcohol at 6 in.the morning.
Right.
I don't want to speak for Charles, but I can kind of see,
Yeah.
I don't think he would object to that either.
No.
Yeah, we would be more than open to changing those if it was the will of the commission.
Okay, great.
Perfect. Okay, so Charles, would you actually be open to amending that? Changing the hours in terms of when we are able to sell alcohol?
Yeah. Is it for weekdays and weekends, or which time was between the 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. you said, to change it from 8 to 11?
Ms. Morales?
Yes, 8 to 11.
And this is for 7 days, throughout the 7 days.
Yes, Monday to Sunday.
Monday to Sunday. Okay. That's fine.
If I may, commissioners, I know that in the last several meetings, we've had some other CUPs that have had alcohol-related items. And as it related to the hours of operation, they all have been the 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. And we have added the conditions regarding the providing a minimum number of staff members on site. So you can have, they're required to have 2 employees on site within the facility while they are selling alcohol. If you remember, we've added that. And there's also another condition requiring that they have a device so they can contact the police station immediately if there is an emergency. So we have added those 2 conditions in the past to kind of alleviate some of the concerns that the commission may have as it relates to the hours that alcohol is being sold. I just wanted to toss that out there as a reminder that we have had those precautionary items in place, and those would be conditions number 18 and 19 of the resolution, if you recall. I just kind of wanted to point that out there. You know, the 6 to 2 a.m. is an ABC restriction. You know, anyone selling alcohol, they have to be within that time frame. But if it's the desire of the commission to modify that, that's fine. It does make it a little challenging from an enforcement standpoint because everyone's selling from 6 to 2, and you know, again, it's just a commentary. So I'll leave that up to you to decide.
Thank you, Oliver.
You're welcome.
All right. So I did actually have a few comments about the project. I think it looks like a really nice, clean area. Are you going to have a block wall separating? Because on the southeast end, we do have residents, and even though the third parcel isn't being developed, the northern section, which is facing Highlands Avenue, is being developed. Is there any idea of putting a block wall or some retaining wall, just to make sure that not a lot of sound is coming out and going towards the residents?
Yeah, I believe it was proposed a block wall there. Not sure if does it show up on the site plan or not, Travis? Because that's one of the things I did want to discuss still, to kind of see if we do plan on trying to bring in the other 2 parcels later on together to expand it. Do we want to leave it as a separation or as an opening? Now, if it becomes, we originally had proposed a conceptual plan of doing a multi-family type of project there, to where we can then just add that block wall from now as part of this project, and then move on to that second phase for living, for a residential project on the other side.
I believe it, as the site plan is right now, it doesn't show any walls proposed in that area. The northern portion, as he had mentioned, it is developed. It's the, I forget the name of the facility, forgive me. But it's not residential immediately adjacent to that drive-through use. The southern portion, as Charles said, did have walls incorporated when it was proposed for development, but because it was being left vacant, hadn't been included. If we would, I think certainly we could look at doing something there. We have had concern in the past, however, with developing block walls along vacant lots or undeveloped lots, just because you do get into grading issues. If the property hasn't been graded appropriately for the development, you can run into drainage problems down the line.
Plus Edison, I still have to work with Edison to see about the poles that are running through there that are actually on the borderline of the property lines between the fire station and our property. So those are actually my biggest number one concern first, is working with Edison about the poles that are there on the property existing, to see if those are going to be underground, or obviously they will have to be underground for the future expansion of the site. So, and that's and where currently those poles are running, I believe, is kind of where there would be that future block wall. As layouts for undergrounding those lines and where to connect to across the street from the senior center.
Yeah, it can just, it can get a little difficult when we try to start doing the permanent improvements before a site's been conceptually designed, just because that infrastructure can have to move sometimes, and then we may try to rebuild improvements down the line. So for that reason, we hadn't included it this time.
And the other thing to be mindful of is we have to be mindful of not creating a nice little canvas for an artist. So now we have a 600-foot.
Especially on a site that's not actively being enforced because there's no other development. That's another excellent point.
Okay, I just mentioned it because we do have residents that are on the other side of the street on the south side, and I just wanted to make sure that your sites would be safe in terms of nobody coming in through the backside and kind of disturbing anything for both the the retail, and on the other side it is open because there is Medical Drive there, but I just wanted to make sure that the other side at least was minimally covered on the east side, I believe.
Even if they put wrought iron and pilasters along that property line, they still will be required to put landscaping in terms of trees and shrubs and such. So there still will be an opportunity or requirement for them to screen it from a landscaping perspective.
Okay, perfect. That actually segues right into my second thing. There wasn't much in terms of the site plans or floor plans or anything like that for the vegetation or the greenery that's going to be placed into the site. I saw like maybe 1 or 2 trees next to the gas station, and I didn't see too much aside from that little division, but are we putting mature trees in? Are we, having flowers in, or is it going to be a desert theme? Just so that it'll be kind of greener and it'll be a little more pleasing to the eye, and just a little nicer for the area.
Yeah, we would like to do trees and more plant-based. I don't know if we want to go towards the desert look necessarily.
I would like green as well. I think that's a little.
We developers tend to like to go more tree-based and more plants and shrubs. I'm not too big of a fan of the desert look, and I don't think San Bernardino is necessarily a desert. So we should. In terms of sizes. Oh, sorry. No, I was just in terms of the tree sizes. I don't know if the building and safety department has standards on those.
I think I can jump in a little bit.
See during their plan review process, other cities we've worked with in the past for a gas station corner.
So I'll pick up where I think Charles is leaving off. Our standards in our code for all projects are fairly consistent as far as the landscaping requirements. We do have a breakdown of different sizes that we require. The majority, smaller, usually around your 24-inch box, but we do require a certain percentage of what we refer to more as the specimen trees, the larger sizes that we would work with the applicant to put more on the focal areas, specifically the corner at the intersection, anywhere where there's major entries, so that it does create more of an attractive frontage to the property. And that's standard requirements that we do on all projects.
Wonderful. I just didn't see it in too many of the renderings, and I was just kind of, is there going to be, a good amount? And I saw the numbers, but I didn't know exactly, where those were going to be placed. So Thank you.
No, thank you.
And I guess my final thing is the street rehabilitation. Is it going from center line, or what's going
on this project? Yes, it would be center line for all the street frontages. It would be center line to the property.
Okay, just because it is I'm quoting from the actual packet. It's a major and secondary arterial. So I just wanted to make sure the other half and everything, just so when they're coming in and exiting, they have a good street that they're going on and they feel comfortable to,
I will say, as is typical, though, obviously, people do drive on both sides of the street, but it really does fall as a standard requirement through Public Works. It's rare that you have a project that has to improve more than their side of the street. It does become a little kind of beyond the scope.
Also, from a legal perspective, we cannot require them to go beyond their side. There's the whole notion of a nexus of how far can we have them make improvements and such. And so that's why we're bound to the proximity to the project. So from your half, that includes sidewalks, curbs, and gutters. It may be busted up a little further down the road, but we can't make them fix that.
Perfect. Just wanted to clarify and make sure that was all taken into consideration.
And we do that for all projects, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes.
We will tell you otherwise if it's not included.
Wonderful. I think Commissioner Jones made one last question that I didn't hear actually an answer to. Is there any set date or proposed date of when you want to break ground? Would this be, immediately pending the approval of this from us, or is there a time frame?
I mean, we plan on moving forward after this hearing. If all goes well, we're approved. We would like to continue with our subdivision process and our recording process. That way we could gear up for final engineering and begin submitting rough grading and our street improvement plans. So I do have an engineer on standby, just waiting, who's already reviewed the conditions of approval, and we're just kind of, so we are looking to move forward as quickly as possible.
Yeah, just for clarity, they at this point, there haven't been plans yet submitted for any of those improvements. So we would still have to go through the typical plan check. As Charles started to mention, because there is a subdivision, we have to go through the process of getting that map recorded first. So there's several steps that have to be met before you're going to see dirt moving on the site.
Yeah.
But I know Charles has been very committed through this project. We've been working on it for a couple of years now. So I know everyone I think is committed and eager to get this moving.
Perfect. That's all I had in terms of comments.
Madam Chair, I would like to move for approval with my amendments on the type 20 for the hours of operation from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Okay. I'll ask, do any of the other commissioners have opposition to that, or would they like to keep the 6 to 2? I'll start with you, Commissioner Guerrero. Any comment?
Well, just for consistency purposes, I would think that we would keep it at the 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. Just because that's what we've been approving over the last few months.
Commissioner Jones?
I'll second the commissioner's proposal.
Commissioner Quill?
I probably feel as though because we have been approving some of the other ones with the later hours, that this may be a little unfair, but I want to be certain that we include in that, or make an addendum that we include the need for at least 2 employees and some of the other conditions that we put in the other convenience stores that we approved.
Just to clarify, Commissioner, those other 2 conditions, I'm sorry, Chair, I didn't mean to cut you off. Those have been included regarding the security system for contacting in case of any emergencies, and the 2 employees during any time that alcohol is sold. Those are included, as Oliver had mentioned earlier, as conditions number 18 and 19 on the resolution.
Thank you very much. I recall Oliver saying that, but I was unclear whether or not that had been included. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Chang?
Are you asking Commissioner Wilbert before you ask me?
I'm just going in kind of order of kind of the
okay. That's fine. Thank you. I do concur with Commissioner Quill on this, in that it would be unfair to the public applicants who applied in the past year or so, and the set hours. I do understand these. I do concur with Morales' proposed hours amendment, but I do concur with Commissioner Quill. It would be quite unfair to the public, in my judgment on that. And then, and in addition to the fact that there are two staff with security implemented at the facility, and I think that should suffice. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Chang. Commissioner Wilbert?
I agree with the proposal that Commissioner Quayle's put together. Thank you.
Commissioner Chang, Commissioner Wilbert, Commissioner Quill, and Commissioner Guerrero have agreed to keeping the 6 to 2, just to keep everything as it is and everything in equal, so they're not starting off on a slightly lower step from everyone else. I do understand your argument, Commissioner Morales, and I understand wanting the slightly later time and, closing up a little bit earlier. However, in the last several meetings and last year or so, it has been 6 to 2. And as a new development coming in, we wouldn't want to start them off with a hindrance. We do have in place, as mentioned prior, number 18 and 19 amendments, which are the 2 staff members and also a security system. So I think that actually would suffice.
If I may, commissioners, this would require a substitute motion, if that's correct, Albert, or would you need to vote on this one first, or can we take a substitute?
That's what I was just going to say. So procedurally, we need to have somebody who didn't make the motion and who didn't second the motion make a new motion to, if I hear going correctly, to approve as staff recommended. I don't think there were any additional, right?
Okay.
That was the only proposed additional condition.
I'd like to make a counter motion to approve the project as read into the record, including one modification, changing the start time for the sale of alcohol from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. and leaving the cutoff time at 2 a.m. One of the reasons being is because this proposed development is directly across the street from a senior citizen complex. And I think that allowing them to serve alcohol that early in the morning, especially with the seniors out in the morning in my ward, in the 6th ward, they're constantly jogging or walking or at the bus stop. I think that would cause extra undue traffic to them that they shouldn't have to go through.
So Chair, you can ask for a second on that.
I would second that.
Okay. So we have a motion, we have a second.
And if anyone else wants to make a third motion, they can. And as a general rule, the last motion to be made is the first to be voted upon.
Okay. Does anyone have a counter motion? If not, then we will have a vote roll call motion for that one.
Yeah, on Commissioner Jones's motion.
Commissioner Guerrero,
Aye.
Chair Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Quill,
Aye.
Vice Chair Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilbert,
Aye.
Commissioner Chang,
Aye.
Commissioner Morales.
May I ask just for clarification on the motion? I'm sorry, I got lost between the two.
So the motion is as staff's recommendation with the one caveat of sale of alcohol from 8 a.m. to 2 a.m.
Okay. I'll vote no.
Okay. The vote is 6 to 1. Passes.
Congratulations, Mr. Youssef.
Thank you.
Continuing on to item number 3. If we could have the staff report, please.
All right, thank you, Stephanie. Go. Item number 3 this evening, conditional use permit 20-07, public convenience or necessity finding 20-01, and variance 20-03. Thank you. This project is a standalone gas station and convenience store. It's located on the southeast corner of Rialto and Rancho Avenue. It's just under a half an acre in total size, and the property is currently in the industrial light zone. As you can see here, the property, as I mentioned, southeast corner of Rialto and Rancho, it's currently a vacant site. Was previously developed, so there are some concrete pads on the site, but no active use or buildings. Next slide. As mentioned, it is in the industrial light zone, completely surrounded by other industrial and heavy commercial uses. There is some residential further south of the property, but nothing that directly abuts the project site. And this would be a smaller gas station, a total of 4 pump islands comprising 8 fueling stations, convenience store about 2,200 square feet in size, and it would have 9 parking spaces separate from those located at the pump islands themselves. So as mentioned, there is a variance request on this project. There are a couple unique considerations with the project site. The specific request that they're asking for is the standard 10-foot setback that we do have in the industrial light zone along the street frontages. We're requesting this evening to reduce that to a total of 6 feet. As we had clarified on a project a couple months ago, this would just simply be a reduction in what's required on the property. Along the street frontages, you have both the sidewalk and the parkway area that does immediately abut the site. So there is additional landscaping contained within that parkway. So at the total, even with reducing the overall frontage by those 4 feet, we would still have a total of a 14-foot buffer when you comprise both the on and off site and integrate them as one landscape area. Separately, there is another minor request along the rear of the building. There is also a 10-foot setback required behind there, and the structure does meet that for the majority of the frontage. But because one of the property lines does run at an angle, it's very hard to meet the strict parallel or perpendicular setback when you have an angled property line. So there is a small area at the very back of the building that does get closer to that. It goes down to 5 feet. So we are requesting to allow that just in order to allow the building to be set appropriately. As it is and is designed, it would not impact any of the adjacent properties. The surrounding property is currently undeveloped, and 5 foot is still pretty standard for most of our building setbacks, so there wouldn't be any impediment on the adjacent properties by reducing that. Next slide, please. And as with the previous project, there is an ABC license request. This would also be for a Type 20 off-sale license. In the census tract we're located in right now, there are a total of 5 licenses and 5 permitted. So if this was approved, this would be the 6th, and that would push us just over the limit, which does require that PCN approval. But similar to the previous project, the ABC licenses within this tract are all located well east of the project site, east and south. None of them are located within a mile of the site. It's fairly undeveloped in this immediate area. So, similar to the previous discussion, because of the census tract layouts, we do have an overconcentration, but within the actual project area, we don't feel there is an impact or there will be an undue impact because there is no concentration immediately adjacent to the project. And as with the last project as well, the police department reviewed this in concurrence with our staff and also is posing no objection to the issuance. So here is the project site. As I mentioned, southeast corner of Rialto and Rancho. See, it was previously developed at some point, but hasn't been for a number of years. And then you can see beyond the other vacant industrial property, and further to the back along the tree line is where the residential is. So the property, pretty standard layout for corner gas station. We do have the building set just interior on the property, kind of in the southeast corner, canopy on the front end, immediately adjacent to the corner, and then 2 parking areas flanking the building. Next slide. It's just kind of the typical elevations for this project. Next slide. And then as far as the landscaping area, we do have landscaping both on either side of the building. Nothing that's been placed behind the building because of the minimal area and really the lack of impact from the landscaping. But we do have significant area along the corner. This is only showing actually the area that's on the property, but there is a striped area or kind of a hashed area just over the property line that would also be landscaped as part of the project. And then you do have large areas on both sides of the building covering the parking. And with that, our recommendation this evening is to adopt Resolution 2020-039 I would find this project categorically exempt from CEQA as a new construction of small structure, and then approves conditional use permit, the PCN finding, and the variance request. And with that, I will actually open it up. We do have the applicant, Carl, on the meeting here, and I believe he wanted to make a couple additional comments.
Thank you, Travis. At this time, I will open public hearing for this item. Stephanie, do we have any public comments?
Do not.
No? Okay, perfect. I'll actually open up to the applicant. Carl, do you have any comments you wanted to add to the report?
Yes, just briefly. Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the commission. We have had the privilege of working with your planning staff over the past several months, and want to thank you for your consideration of the project this evening, and to thank the staff, not only the planning staff, but the police department and the public works department for bringing the project before you this evening. We have received a copy of the agenda, the staff report, the resolution, the conditions of approval, and all of the exhibits presented to you tonight. We are in complete concurrence with the findings and the recommendations and the conditions of approval, including those placed upon the project by the police department relative to, and I only bring this up because it was brought up at the last item, the requirement for 2 staff members during any hour in which alcoholic beverages are sold, along with the requirement for the direct connection to the police department with the safety alarm system, if you will, for the property. And with that said, we are in complete concurrence with the conditions and the resolution. And from a timing standpoint, in an effort to get to the question that Mr. Jones may ask, we are hoping to break ground the summer of 2021. Once this project has a determination, thinking positive, if the project is approved, we will begin the preparation of the construction documents on January 4th, and assuming a 3 to 4 month period for permit acquisition for not only all of the city requirement and city permits, but also the county and the state requirements, we expect to break ground the beginning of summer of 21. And with that said, thank you very much, and I'm available to answer any questions should you have any. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carl. All right, so I'll go down from board, starting with Commissioner Guerrero.
No comments. It looks like a great project of well use of the area. So thank you for bringing it to San Bernardino.
Perfect. Commissioner Quill. Oh, I'm sorry, you're actually muted.
Thank you. This project appears to be a terrific project in the area and an improvement in the area. And appreciate you recognizing the conditions we put on the previous project. So with that accepted, I think it's a good project. Way to go. Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Jones.
I have no objections. Thank you, Carl, for your hard work.
Thank you. Commissioner Wilbert.
Good project. The only thing I'd like to just assure that the landscape on the street side is good looking landscape, not something that will fall apart, or it just sort of accents the whole project. That's the only thing. Looks like it will be, but that's my only comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Chang.
Hi, yes, thank you. I have a question. Can the staff show the plan with the setback in the landscape? Can you put it on the screen again, please? I mean, I know I read the packet. Thank you. That's it. Yeah, that's the one I was looking for. What is the setback again on this project?
So in the industrial zone, we're talking specific to the street frontages. In the industrial light zone, there is a 10-foot setback requirement. And as our code is written, the setbacks do have to be landscaped because of the size and the little bit of the configuration of the site. It's a little bit difficult to meet that 10-foot setback. So we are requesting to reduce that to 6 feet. But to clarify, that is 6 feet of landscaping on site. The public works requirements in this area do require a total of, when you look at the streets from center line to the property line, there's a total of 50 feet. But the curb line, per their requirements, is placed at 36 feet. So you do have 14 feet from the curb to the property line. Putting the standard kind of between 6 and 8 foot setback or 6 and 8 foot sidewalk in place, you do have still another 6 or so feet of landscaping off-site that is adjacent to what is on the property. So at a minimum, even with that reduction, we still have at least 12 feet of landscaping that would front the project site. It would just be set on both sides of the property line. I'm not sure if that answers your question or not.
Yes, it does. Thank you, Travis, for explaining it. Yeah, I was just curious as to why the setback of this project is different, being 10 feet, being the standard in the code.
Yeah. What's just a little bit difficult because of the angle of the streets and the existing property lines. The property is a little bit of a trapezoidal shape. So it just, in order to make everything line up, properties can be angled, buildings are usually fairly square. So now we're trying to put, different improvements on different shapes. So we've had to kind of shift a few of the improvements between that and trying to provide the necessary circulation for refuse and for fire. We've had to make the drive aisle in front of the building a little larger for their requirements. So some things have just had to be proposed to shift a little bit.
So with the area of refuge for fire department and all that put into consideration on this plan, which I can understand, I've done this before. So I just wondering that it's impossible for the applicant to implement the 10 feet setback design on this site. Is that justified? I mean, is this valid?
I would say in this instance,
the 6 feet or the 4 feet looks like this side looks pretty large enough that the applicant can have about 10 feet on the corner side and 10 feet on the north is up, right?
If I may, Commissioner, we are looking at a total of 4 feet, I guess, that we've been trying to squeeze here. We've been working with this applicant for the better part of 6 months, I want to say generously. Just trying to, as Travis mentioned, we kind of have a little bit of a trapezoid shaped project here. And the code requirements for that 10-foot setback. And what happens is our code does require that whenever there's a discretionary action, when a dedication is required to move the property line back for right-of-way, ultimate right-of-way, that we condition projects to do that. And so even though the property line is going to move back as required by our development code, there is no change going to be made to the curb and gutter or the sidewalk. There are some cases with other projects where that, as an example, we had the 5th Street project, the Gateway project. That curb and gutter, where you see the curb now, that's going to be pushed back, to accommodate the new right-of-way. In this particular case, nothing is moving. They are going to resurface the street, and they will replace any concrete, any of the sidewalk, curb or gutter that needs to be repaired, but nothing is going to change. And so what we're asking for is essentially with the setback, we're trying to accommodate the adequate access and safe access, I may add, for the cars to come in and fuel. Also for potential, if there's fire access, fire trucks that need to come in, we have the refuge trucks coming in. There's a lot going on. And so we did not want to sacrifice the access points to the site And so at the end of the day, we end up with a 14-foot landscape planter along Highland, and which is more than what the 10-foot that the code may require otherwise. The only difference is that the property line is farther back, and technically there's only 6 feet that's on the property line, and so that's where the purpose of the variance is. It doesn't say you have to provide a 10-foot planter. It says you have to provide a 10-foot landscape planter. And so, I know that variances, there's, we try to ensure that there's special circumstances and such, so we don't set precedents on these kinds of things. If you recall, there was a similar situation, I want to say maybe 2, 3 planning commissions ago, where we had a similar situation where we're moving the right-of-way line, but not doing any physical improvements. And so, therefore, our recommendation is we believe, from a staff perspective, that the intent of the code is to provide not just adequate landscaping or landscaping that meets the code requirement, but in this particular case, we are going to end up with a much better quality or amount of landscaping. I believe our code requires 50. Well, I do know that our code requires 15 feet of landscaping, 15%, I should say, of landscaping. This project actually proposes almost 21% landscaping.
Now that you explain it, I can see the shape and the geometry, how it's laid out. I can understand. So the north is paper north. So what is on the east and south side of the property line?
It's a vacant industrial zone land.
Okay, good.
Yeah, there's nothing else immediately abutting this property.
Interesting. Good to know. Okay, thank you. No further question for me. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Morales, any comments?
No, now that you explained, Oliver, I appreciate that. Thank you, Carl. I think this is a great project to move forward with.
Thank you.
All right. I am actually from the 3rd Ward, so I had definitely a little more to say. But to be honest, I looked at the project, I saw the reductions, and I was like, why is that? But the thorough explanation, I think, covers more than everything. Are you thinking of, I saw the dashed black line in the site plan. Is a wall being proposed there, or is that just showing the property lines?
We are proposing to construct on the south property line and the east property line a decorative split face block wall.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, is it going to be on both sides of the split face, or are you thinking just split and precision?
Typically we would do split face on the project's side and then smooth on the other. One of the things that did come up in our discussions with the planning staff is to do everything we possibly can to make sure that we make it inconvenient for any graffiti. So in our landscape plan, we are proposing to do a lot of creeping fig, if you will.
Okay.
Yeah, so that'll remove some of the wall surface for spray painting. So, and we do have a good experience with that because we do a lot of these projects in a lot of areas, and we try to do the best we can to avoid graffiti incidences.
Wonderful. And if you're proposing the ivory and everything, then I wouldn't request, having split face on the public side then. That'd be fine. I think, to be honest, I really like this report. You have everything that I think the community needs, especially on that end. And I have no further comment. Just thank you for bringing this to our city.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So I'll do one last round if anyone just wants to raise their hand. Further comments about this? If not, then I will close public comments for this item and I will entertain a motion.
I'd like to approve the agenda item as read into the record.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Stephanie, if we could have a vote roll call.
Commissioner Guerrero,
Aye.
Chair Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Quill,
Aye.
Vice Chair Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilbert,
Yes.
Commissioner Chang,
I'm actually still uncomfortable with this variance setback of 6 feet, particularly at the south and the west side. So I will say no. Thank you.
and Commissioner Morales.
Yes.
The item passes 6-1.
Congratulations.
Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Have a wonderful evening.
You do as well. Thank you, and stay safe.
All right. Continuing on to Planning Commission reports and announcements. Oliver, do we have any? Oh, I think we've lost all. Oh, no, there you are. All right. Do we have?
I lost once as a child. It only takes one time, let me tell you. As a report, not really, other than I'd like to wish everyone a happy holiday, and we'll hit the new year running quickly, I'm sure. But I did want to provide you an update. We, as you know, we've been preparing to start our general plan. We have our general plan development code and a few other items that are coming along with that. We will be making an initial presentation to the City Council in January. What I am preparing to do for our meeting in January on the 12th is to kind of an initial presentation to you, just kind of lay a little bit of the groundwork, a little bit of planning 101, if you will. Just, you know, what's the general plan and what is the overall process going to be? It's not going to. I really don't intend it to be too much of a question and answer kind of thing. It'll be your. We'll go over the syllabus, if you will, for the 3-year assignment, and I kind of walk you through the steps. I'm looking forward to PlaceWorks, who are our consulting team, to be with us, and we'll start to. What I want to do beyond just the what the process and that so forth. I want to also initiate what the public participation process is going to be like, how residents and business community can get involved. We will be introducing, we're looking at a website or a web page for this, and so we just want to flood the market, if you will, in terms of if you want to participate, if you want to inform yourself of what's going on, there will be no excuse, because we'll have enough information and enough leaders out there to show you where to go. And so again, on the 12th of January, we'll start the fund. And then my goal is that on a regular basis, we'll come back to you as part, whether it's under the director's report or as an agenda item, just to kind of educate you as it's going, as the project's moving. This is what we've completed. This is where we're at. This is what we're working on. And really, again, not necessarily for overall engagement in terms of input, if you will. There will be certainly an opportunity for that, but I just kind of want to have everybody on the same page early on, get our prerequisites going, so to speak. And so once we're 6 months, 9 months into the process and things are really getting formulated, everyone kind of has that same level of understanding of where we're at. Okay, now I know what that means. Now we can start making decisions, recommendations, and those kinds of things. We will also ask that the commissioners be advocates for the project, if you will. You know, as you're out in the community speaking to your neighbors or business folks that you deal with on a day-to-day basis. Hey, have you heard that we're updating our general plan? You need to get involved. There's a few people that live here in town. We'd like to get a lot of participation. A lot of people, at least, interested in what we're doing. And so, with that, I just kind of wanted you to know that come January, class will be in session. That'll be all. Thank you.
Thank you, Oliver. I'll take this time actually to introduce, as you probably noticed, we have a new commissioner here with us, Harmony Morales. So if you want to introduce yourself a little bit and.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So again, thank you all, for welcoming me to the group. I'm looking forward to working with you all to contribute to our general plan, create new jobs and revenue for our city. and improve the quality of life. I'm here to, be a watchdog for the community and welcome new business and development. I am a nurse, so as I get to know my patients, I also want to take the time to know you all as my fellow board members and the community, through my service as a commissioner. So I vow to be proactive, informed, and advocate for our community. And as the mayor's appointee, I feel that it is my duty to also represent him and, carry his message of business development and safety. So my goal is just to make conscientious decisions and raise the bar for our beloved city and, implement our vision to make it the world-class city that it is. So, and by putting safety at the forefront. So thank you all. I appreciate this opportunity and I'm looking forward to working with you guys.
Welcome. And so yes, Albert.
Chair, I just wanted to let everyone know that BBK updated our public integrity pocket guides. They're very short guides about the Brown Act and the Public Records Act and the gifts rules and all those kinds of things. I have sent hard copies to Stephanie, and she will get those pocket guides in hard copy to each one of you. And I've also included a business card of mine. So I recommend that you bring those to every meeting and just kind of peruse them, at your leisure. And if you have any questions, I included my cards. You can reach out to me with questions at any time.
Thank you, Albert, and congratulations. I know you had several things going on and improving those things for us.
Thank you.
Does any other commissioner have any comments? I do actually have one, or actually two comments. Commissioner Wilbur actually brought it to light and everything. He mentioned it a little earlier about the Ho-Ho parade that's going on. If you can just kind of, obviously from the safety of your home with that, but kind of be supportive and everything, maybe turn on your lights or something to show that, we are here and we're kind of a community. Another thing that is going on, and it's here in the 3rd Ward, kind of here in the south side, close to, or actually at Valley College, we are having an event called the Let It Snow Festival. And it will be on parking lot number 8 this Friday, and it's for the kids. So it's going to be a drive-through where they'll be able to take some pictures with Santa, obviously at a distance, but there'll be a Santa there. And there will be also gifts given to all the children. So they'll get goodies, and it's ranging from all ages. So there's something for everybody. So if you do know some kids or, family members or friends that, there's not a lot to be had for the holidays, please invite them to this event. So it's called the Let It Snow Festival. It's this Friday at 1 in parking lot 8 at Valley College. There is a Facebook page for it. And there's, I think, an Instagram and maybe even a Twitter one for it. But so if you want to get a little more informed of what that event is, it's for the kids. I think that's it in terms of my comments.
That's very nice.
Yes, I'll mention it. It's my sister who's actually putting this together. So we've raised funds from different places and try to put this together for the kids. So I think that's it in terms of reports. So we will go to adjournment. And do I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting until January 12th, 2021.
Perfect. Do we have a second?
I second that motion.
All right. I think we can all just, on the count of 3, say aye. 1, 2, 3.
Aye.
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 So
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yes. Happy holidays, everyone, and have a great New Year.
Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays, everyone. Stay safe, and we'll see you guys in January.
See you in the new year, 2021.
Wow.